Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my favorite horror movie. Each week, I have a special guest join me to discuss their favorite horror film. And today, I am joined by someone who I love so much, the one and only Allison Pittel. You guys know her as Selena from SCREAMBOAT. Allison, how are you doing today?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to see you again. It's
Oh,
been a while since we've talked, so I'm so happy that we're able to catch up and talk horror.
yes, I am so excited. I knew when I was making my list for season two, I was like, I have to get Allison on here because for people who don't know, we did an interview for Screamboat over Zoom like this, and then within like a week, I think of that, we got to do two Q&As together, like in person at the AMC Burbank 16. It was so much fun.
Yes, it was so much fun. Ah, what a great time. I'm so happy you were able to come and everyone that was able to come and join us in theaters for that film. I cannot thank you guys enough. It was such a riot to have you all there.
It was so fun getting to see like the audience reactions and how they, screamed and jumped and laughed at all of the jokes. And I heard a lot of people pointing out all the Disney references. So it was just a really fun theatrical experience. But you know what we should mention before we get into your favorite horror film is for people who were not able to go see Screamboat in theaters today. It's Friday, September 12th when this is releasing. And Screamboat is going to be available right now on Peacock. So as soon as you're done watching this, go check out Screamboat if you haven't, or if you want to see it again on Peacock.
Yes, please do. We're so excited and so grateful to Peacock. Yes, please check it out.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. To think that now people who haven't had a chance to see it yet, they can watch it from the comfort of their own home, and it's so exciting. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very happy for the film and for everyone involved.
Yeah, very good news. Allison, which movie did you pick for your favorite horror movie to discuss today?
I picked Jaws. I love that movie. I it's such a fun ride. It's definitely horror for sure, but there's something about it that's so funny and charming and endearing. It was a very early film that I watched quite young, and it definitely sticks out as like just one of the best horror movies out there for me.
Oh my gosh, I totally agree with you. And you know what's hilarious? So when I set out to do this series, I was like, okay, my rule is no one can do the same movie twice. And every single person that I've talked to has mentioned wanting to do Jaws, but then they end up picking something else. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe no one has actually gone with Jaws. So I'm so excited that you picked it and that it was available still because I would have called so bad, like, hey, what movie do
I'm
you want?
shocked at that. I'm really, as I was like, there's no way. And now I feel a lot of pressure too.
No, no, no. No
Do
pressure.
its justice.
But you mentioned you saw it for the first time when you were very young. Do you remember exactly like where and when you saw it?
I would have been, it would have been in my house. So I've mentioned this on the last podcast, but my birthday is November 1st. So my childhood birthdays were always Halloween themed. When I was a kid, um, what we would do usually for my birthday is have like a big sleepover with my friends and watch a horror movie. And because we were, like 6, 7, 8, we weren't allowed to watch rated R movies, and most horror was is rated R. So what my parents did was pick movies, older movies from the 70s, even earlier 50s, and they were rated R, but because of the time period that they were released, the sensibilities were a little bit different. So, for example, Psycho is rated the way it's rated because her belly button is showing, and for the time period is that's considered nudity. Not for our day and age. So it kind of was a good way to get into horror without being overly scary for someone that young or overly sexual, as horror can often be. And Jaws is one of those movies I was allowed to watch. It was kind of borderline, just because of the raunchy, Quinn's character is a little bit raunchy at times, and but it wasn't so scary that was gonna freak us out. I lived in Michigan. It wasn't near the ocean. That probably had something to do with it. But it was one that I really loved. I think I was maybe 6 when I watched it, 6 or 7, And we loved it so much, my siblings and I, that we became really familiar with the songs that Quinn would
Oh.
sing when he's like the boating sailor songs. And we would start singing these at like 6 years old in public. And one of them is like, about basically he's going off and having sex with people at different ports. So we were like singing about these like women, and my parents were like, oh my God. And they're like, it's from Jaws. He sings these songs about sailors. They're like, yeah, but you probably don't want to sing those in public. So that was, I mean, that was, but yeah, it was super young. And that was something I remember pretty vividly, like singing a lot of those songs that Quinn would sing about sailors porting and sleeping with sex workers at
Oh
like
my
6 years
gosh.
old.
I love it. I think my first time ever watching it was also at home, and I think it was the 4th of July weekend where I forgot what channel it was, but they had like a all weekend long marathon of Jaws and all the sequels and everything. And I remember putting on the first one, and I was like blown away by how cool it was. Like as a kid, seeing that, and like I understood in my head, like this is not real, but it still freaked me out. And you know what's funny is I had a pool in my backyard, and I remember being afraid after seeing Jaws to swim at night in the pool because even though it's a pool and it's chlorine and it's not connected to the ocean in any way, I was afraid that Jaws was going to get there and get me. And it's funny, I've heard a lot of other people say similar things about being afraid to swim in a pool after seeing Jaws. So it's just crazy how something like Jaws has terrified like generations to come. And what's even crazier is it turned 50 this year.
I know.
So there's the documentary on Hulu that just came out called Jaws at 50. Have you had a chance to check that out yet?
I haven't, but I
Oh.
will definitely. I'll check that out. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it is so good. There's lots of current interviews, lots of footage from behind the scenes of filming it, and it's just fun. It's crazy because 50 years later, you would think they've run out of stuff to say about Jaws. You know, like there's been so many documentaries and
Right.
interviews and I feel like there's still new stuff coming out about Jaws all these years later. So it's a really good documentary. I would highly recommend everybody check that out. When they're done with this and when they're done watching Screamboat on Peacock, everyone's gonna have like a weekend long marathon of all these things. But yeah, I love the movie. Uh, have you seen the sequels? I know there's a few.
I've seen the one that sticks out. I'm not really a big sequels person, honestly, in general, but I saw the one, I can't remember if it's three or two or whatever. It was like where they're in an underground. The only scene I remember is like they're in an underground aquarium and the sharks start like busting the glass.
Oh,
I
okay, yeah,
think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the third, I think, but
I
I've
can't remember either
seen
which one
them,
that
but I
is.
like one.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan. I don't think they're anything like the original, and they already killed the shark. It's hard to keep that going.
I know. I really wonder if they regret after the huge success of the first Jaws that they're like, man, we should have let him swim away and come back for the sequels. I really wonder if
Right,
they had known what they know now, how that
right.
ending would have changed. But it's just such a great film. I agree with you on the sequels. I think I've only seen them like once, maybe that weekend when there was that marathon. But what's
Mhm.
cool is because it's the 50th anniversary, actually, we're recording this the last few days of August, right? Right now, Jaws is in theaters for its anniversary. I think till the end of the weekend, maybe through Monday because Monday's a holiday. But have you had a chance to see Jaws on the big screen yet?
I saw it at like a screening in New York that was playing with an orchestra, which was really
Ooh.
cool. They've done a couple installations of different ones. They did also like some George Romero, some of his pieces, and it was very very cool. I think they just did at the Hollywood Bowl as well with an orchestra. So I did one of those sort of experiences, and that was really cool.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, I've seen it at home a few times. I've seen it in theaters, I think once, because a couple years ago they re-released it in IMAX, and that was such a cool experience to see on the big screen like that. And what was really awesome about it was, as I was leaving the theater, I was looking around to see like what age groups were there, and there were a lot of older people there who must have grown up with the film, but there were also a lot of people younger than me, and I was wondering if it was their first time like ever seeing Jaws. that would be such a cool experience for your first time to ever see it, to be in a
I
theater in
think,
IMAX.
it's one of those movies that like a kid can really like. Grease to me is the same way where
Oh,
you watch it really young and you and for whatever reason everyone was okay with it because I mean there's whole songs about like having sex in a car. But no one everyone's like it's Grease and someone's pregnant. I mean but as you get older, you start to see these things and these themes and but it seems so kid friendly and it can be and kids are I mean it's appealing to kids and I think Jaws is one of those where there's something about it. It's a shark. It's a shark. It's cool. It's got funny lines or whatever. And but then as you get older, you really see some of these themes of kind of corrupted government and grief and an unlikely hero. And just his scene, the scene with Chief Brody and his son is always so beautiful to me because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was totally improv. I
oh,
don't want to
really?
just
Okay.
speak bullshit here, but I think it was with the kids starting to mimic, the actors'
Mhm.
movements, and it just is those themes of like protection and family and um those things come about as you get older, but it has a lot for everyone because as a kid, yeah, it's action, it's got the music. It's much more of a quest to me than it is
Mhm.
like a traditional. There's nothing slow burning about it. It's very,
Yeah.
they're out in the open ocean and anything could happen. So it's fun, but then you dive into these themes a little bit deeper and you realize how cool and how thoughtful and well even the little sentences like there's these fun little sentences and all the characters have like you really get an idea right away of this island and how it functions and just the little problems that Chief Brody has to deal with on a day to day are so funny and his secretary like complaining about the karate club karateing fences down and like just all these silly little like one liners these characters have is so entertaining to me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's a lot of great one-liners, a lot of great
Yeah.
dialogue that still gets quoted all these years later. So we've talked about seeing it in the theater, we've talked about how you got to see it with an orchestra, but the one way that I really want to see it, if there's ever anything like this, we should totally go. But you know how they have screenings like in lakes or in ponds where they have like the inflatable screen and then everyone gets in a pool floaty? Would you do that for
I
Jaws?
would freaking love to do that. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes.
That sounds awesome.
I know. I'm trying to think of if there's a way for them to do it in a beach. I feel like there must be, like near a pier or something, just like close off a section, have everyone be in a pool floaty, get the inflatable screen, and put on Jaws. That would be incredible.
That would be awesome. I would totally do that. Any way we can figure out to watch movies in a different way. I'm all for it. Like I love a drive-in like experience. I love going to movies. I love all of it. So yes, sign me up for floating in the water.
Yeah, I would totally. Or a water park like Raging Waters or whatever the other ones are called, like Soak City. That would be the perfect place. You know that the lazy river, you could just sit in there with a pina colada and
Yes.
watch
Let's,
Jaws. Oh my God, let's get on that. That would be
let's do it. If there's drinks involved, I'm there. So
yeah. Oh
yes.
my God. Okay. Do you know the restaurant Outback Steakhouse?
I do.
Yeah, like it's a secret, like it's a little indie place that no one's ever heard of. But we went there like a couple years ago for the Bloomin' Onion, right? It's like the best thing on the
Classic.
planet. I'm obsessed with those things. And they had a shark drink. It was a blue drink, and then it had like a little rubber shark on it, and you poured from the rubber shark like red liquid in it, made it look like blood in the drink. We need
That's
those, and we need pool of floaties, and we need Jaws on the big screen. That'd be perfect summer evening.
yes. Yes. I could see now that we're talking, we're designing the new, way to watch a movie. Like, how they have those wheeling butler things that have drinks on
Oh
them?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Something like that with like a dorsal fin, like a
Ooh.
shark through the
Hmm.
water with like a drink
Yeah.
behind it.
I like that. I like
Carrying
that.
drinks. I think we're onto something. I think we should go into business
I
together
think
and
so too.
build this concept, this water and
Yeah,
all water themed. and they're splashing like when the
Mhm.
shark is
And
getting
then
on screen
for
maybe.
like extra money, we can let a shark in.
Yeah, for extra money, we let like a shark with no teeth or something
Oh my
in. Very
gosh.
tame.
Would you ever go swimming with sharks? Like if you were given the opportunity, would you do something like that?
I would do that. So it's not sharks I'm afraid of. It's the sheer being in the water, just the thought of being so deep in the water that
Ooh,
you could just collapse
yeah.
from the pressure.
Mhm.
That actually is what scares me most about the deep sea is like the amount of pressure that you eventually
Yeah.
have to
No, not a fan of
undergo.
that.
But I would like in a sure, I think I would swim with sharks. I know people do it. I feel like they're in one of those things where it's like, stuff happens, but I did swim with stingrays the
Ooh.
year that what's his face?
Oh no, Steve Irwin?
Steve Irwin. The
Oh
same year that
no.
he passed away from a stingray.
Yeah.
That weekend I
Oh
was
my
swimming with
gosh.
stingrays, yeah, with my family.
That
So
is crazy. Like, what are the odds of that
I
happening?
know and I think the odds of that happening to someone is pretty low
Yeah. Ooh.
with stingrays, but that was so I feel like I could do a shark.
Yeah. Yeah. I
A
don't know.
stingray.
I don't know if I could do it. I feel like if I saw someone else do it in person and I got to watch like the experience, then maybe I could do it. But I don't like enclosed spaces. And you know how
Mm.
you have to be in like that cage? I think that part would freak me out, being in a enclosed cage underwater, because then if something goes wrong, I can't just like go up. I'm like trapped in it. I think that's the part that holds me back is the cage part.
The cage part, yeah. And speaking of cages, I when I rewatched Jaws, I forget that Hooper, he's in that anti-shark cage
Mhm.
and he just kind of dips. He like doesn't go back up to the surface till the shark is dead. I was like, what the hell? I don't know how I missed like I knew that happened,
Uh-huh.
but I never it never occurred to me how much of a coward he is in that. And no, I probably would do the same.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the guy just kind of dipped
Oh my
in that
gosh.
movie
That's hilarious.
and let the other two figure it out.
Mhm. Oh my God. No, I love that. Actually, since you've seen the movie so many times and it's one of your favorites, do you have any like trivia or behind the scenes stuff that maybe someone watching it for their first time might not know about?
I think the most famous trivia is, which probably everyone knows, is the fact that the shark wasn't working properly and broke all the time. And it was supposed to be, um, but you were supposed to see it a lot more than you did,
Mhm.
and they decided to make it. I don't want to. I'm sure everyone's seen it. Don't want to ruin anything about this movie, but you don't really see the shark a lot, and until really the end. I also didn't know that the actor Brody that was not that was Spielberg wanted him, but the studios wanted to go with a different guy and
Hmm.
really push for um I can't remember. There was like five or six big actors at the time that the studio was pushing for that were a little bit more of these kind of very, very masculine, like very masculine guys that were really tough. And Spielberg really was attached to the idea of Brody being kind of an everyman, and
Hmm.
he's an unlikely hero. He's described as, and I think he like that's such a so on point with that character. So yeah, those things are always interesting to me, like who, like casting, like how that goes down, and what some of the like original choices were and who turned it down. But yeah, I think the Brody character is so, he's a New Yorker, moved to this small town island, Martha's Vineyard-esque island, and it is totally out of depth with what's
Hmm.
going on, and he really brings such a human element to the movie, which has his two cohorts are like Quinn, which is just this insane character, and then Hooper, this sort of intellectual genius, as oceanographer, college educated, and then you have Chief Brody as kind of this like balancing force that I think brings the audience into the drama
Yeah.
because you see yourself in Chief Brody. But yeah, I'm horror. I that's I don't really know other. I'm sure there's tons of stuff that millions of documentaries have
Yeah.
covered, but
Yeah, but I would say definitely for people who want to know more behind the scenes stuff, that documentary on Hulu, they talk a lot about like the poster that was made and then how it was adapted from the book. They talk a lot about like the different conditions, like you mentioned with the shark not working, which to me, I think did them a favor because in a lot of horror films, especially modern horror films, whatever the creature is or the monster or whoever's chasing them, they show it way too much. And I think it takes away the effect of how scary it is. Because to me, the scariest movies growing up were the paranormal activity movies where you didn't see anything. You just knew something was there. And I feel like people not seeing the shark or the creature or the killer, it just, their imagination runs wild. And then that's scarier than if you have the thing on screen. So I think the shark breaking down a lot actually in the long run ended up helping them with holding
yes.
back showing it.
And I know the original shark in the event that the book takes place, or the event that the book, takes steals or is inspired by is a bull shark and not a great white,
Oh, yeah.
which is
Hmm.
the most dangerous shark according to Shark Week. And I will live and die by Shark Week.
Oh, so good.
It's so good. It's the most aggressive shark. They attack in 3 feet of water. They can go upstream. They can go in fresh water. And I believe the bull shark there, it was I want to say New Jersey, but it was a river. It wasn't an ocean. It was like a river. And
Mm,
that was crazy because I can get an ocean. Like I get the ocean is for sharks,
yeah.
but a friggin' river, the river's like that, a shark in a river,
Yeah.
you don't expect it. It's
Mhm.
terrifying. There's already snakes in rivers,
Yeah.
which I hate snakes. I mean,
Oh, no.
Anaconda was like up there for me also as like a very scary with I think it was just Jennifer Lopez, like someone Halle
Mhm.
Berry. I can't remember who was in that, but that big old anaconda eating that guy whole. Oh
Yeah.
my god! So I already got snakes. The
Yeah.
last thing I need is a shark.
Aren't they remaking Anaconda right now with Jack Black?
Shut up. Of course they're right. I will say that. I hope it's good, but I hope they do it. I know they're gonna have to do it so CGI, but I think what
Yeah.
I loved about like that first Anaconda was like you see that throat coming down,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh my God, that was disgusting. That stuff in his throat is to me the POV shot the worst. Same with or nope. That
Oh,
one
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
of
Yeah.
him getting that crowd of people getting sucked in that God knows what that was, the mouth.
Yeah.
That stuff is always gonna get me, a throat POV.
Yep. No, that makes sense. That's
No,
that's creepy. Creepy look. Ugh.
it.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But something that I found very interesting was I was trying to think of other shark movies that have come out since Jaws, and I feel like the only ones I could really think of are like the Meg, the Jason Statham like
Yes.
action movies.
Yes.
And there's been a couple other ones, but I feel like none of them hold up to Jaws. What do you think it is that makes it so difficult to do a good shark movie? Do you think it's the fact that now everything's CGI, so it's not as believable? Do you think it's just the time of when it came out? What do you think it is that is just difficult for people now to do a good shark film?
I think you're onto something there with sometimes people think bigger is scarier and it's not always the case.
Hmm.
Or smarter is scarier, better is scarier. And we've seen it with Jurassic World. I mean, I don't think is the answer
Right.
to what makes a movie scary. It's more the unknown. I liked was it Open Ocean where there it was like made for like
Oh,
50 grand. It was like a nothing
yeah.
budget. It was that couple that's on the open ocean and they made millions off the movie. And I think they only made it for like $70,000. It's
Wow.
an open ocean, I think it's called. I wouldn't, I mean, it's a shark movie and they definitely get attacked by sharks. And I think that movie really was very well done
Mhm.
and scary because it's like the suspense comes from not really knowing what's coming and not and feeling like you could be in that position and empathizing with the characters. I think with sharks it's tricky because it's hard to recreate something that's already done so well
Yeah,
and do it differently. And like the approach that is done has been just, oh, we'll just make it like the biggest shark you've ever freaking seen.
yeah,
And that doesn't really work for me. And I think that's often the problem with like the Jurassic stuff. Like it's just having a super smart dinosaur. They also did that with sharks, with the
yeah,
deep blue ocean or whatever it was. The sharks are like really smart in solving cancer problems.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a good question. It's like, and I think horror is evolving as a genre, changing or whatever you want to say. But the jump scare is now is sort of passe a little bit, or it feels like we're leaning into more of these slow burn, these sort of like unsettling, these psychological trauma fueled horror films. And it's really less about the jump scare in a
yeah,
traditional sense because like I think people have collective memory in a sense. And, there's a reason these older films feel not as scary. It's like somehow even if you haven't seen like the original, like House on Haunted Hill, you're not going to be afraid of it in the same way that someone of that time period is, just because we have this sort of collective sense memory, I think, as human beings. And sharks just don't do it for us anymore in the way that they might have, because we've sort of seen it, we understand it, and we know more about maybe the animals, we know the statistics around it. I don't know, it's a really interesting question, and I think it's definitely something that can be made scary. It's just like, how do we do it different? Instead of trying to just make something really flashy and big and that going that way.
yeah. You know, a film that's kind of similar that I think they did a really good job with. I think it came out maybe like 3 or 4 years ago at this point. It's called Crawl. It's with alligators. Did you see
Ooh.
this one? I think it's like I've only seen it the one time, but I remember really liking it. It was like a girl, she's trapped in like a hurricane and alligators come. And it was really good because it's like she's trapped in like a house and she's trapped in like a convenience store and everything's flooded. So it's a really interesting take on a similar premise. So I think something like that would be a cool idea.
That sounds friggin' terrifying. I mean, those things can run
Yeah.
up to 25 miles an hour, I think, on
Oh
land.
my gosh.
And the death roll that they do, I just like
Oh
can't.
yeah.
I
Ooh.
mean, yeah, alligators. And I feel like you come face to face with alligators more in your
Yeah.
daily life. I remember staying in Hilton Head or something like that and walking like down to my room, and
Mhm.
there was a crocodile. I don't know the
Oh
difference.
my
It's
God.
one of those
Uh-huh.
like 5 feet away from me.
Oh my gosh.
And it was alarming how I was just like out of nowhere. And you
Yeah.
can't really do that with a shark in the same way. But yeah, gators are underappreciated in how scary they can be, for sure.
Ugh. Well, my last question about Jaws is I know there's like a ton of merch out there from Funko Pops to t-shirts, posters. Do you yourself own any merch from Jaws?
I don't own any merch from Jaws. There's a poster that I've been eyeing um for a while. It's like it's probably sold by now, but it was like an original
Oh,
signed poster, and it was like 7,000. It was like a
oh my
crazy
gosh.
like, but that's the kind of merch I like, is more like kind of artwork.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't own any job outside of the t-shirt. I have a few t-shirts
Oh, that's cool.
that I got, over the years that I like. But yeah, that's my goal, is to get that
Ooh.
$7,000 post.
Yeah, that'd be a really nice one. I was trying to think, I don't have any Jaws merch, but the last time I was at Universal Studios, they did have a really cute poster and it was Hello Kitty mashed up with Jaws. I thought that one
Really?
was pretty cute. And then right now at like Total Wine and Bevmo and stuff like that, they have, I think it's for the anniversary, they have blue, I think it's wine with Jaws on it. So like the bottle's clear and then it has like the mouth of the shark and then it's wine. It looks pretty cool. So I think maybe something like that would be more my speed.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, absolutely. And I know the SAG Museum's doing an exhibition as well for the 50th. So I'm
Oh,
very
so
eager to
cool.
check that out.
Yeah. Ah,
So there, yeah, I know Martha's Vineyard's doing something big where they
yeah.
filmed it. Yeah, it's very cool. Very
Yep.
cool.
So they got it to the first 50 years, and now you and I will take the reins and we'll get them the next 50 years at water parks and in the ocean and pina
Yeah,
coladas and shark drinks. We got this. We got this.
you got it. I want a throat ride too, like going into the throat of
One of the
the
slides, the
fish.
water slides. Oh,
Yes.
oh my gosh. Well, Allison, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day to be here for my favorite horror movie and talking all about Jaws. If people want to follow you and keep up with all your other upcoming projects, where would be a good place for them to come follow you?
I'm on social media, mainly Instagram, and it's Allison Pittel is my username. It's Pittel.
Well, thank you so much, Allison. It was so good to see you. And everybody, make sure to come back next week, or I will have another special guest talk about their favorite horror film. Bye, Allison.
Bye.